from just a simple game to greed and then pride, Angry Birds has dealt with all three as their company Rovio has made some questionable decisions. I mean, if you look at their games in plain sight, there's just game after game and they're practically the same. And the reason should probably not shock you, and if it does, why? Anyways, it all started in 2009 when Angry Birds was officially released for iOS and Miami devices. And according to game developer, one of the reasons that Angry Birds became so popular was that it was easy to understand to how to play the game. I mean, all you do is throw birds' heads at pigs, and those pigs are saying, that's literally all they're saying. And they're saying that over and over again. And this got Angry Birds on other devices, such as, and bear with me here, Android, iOS, PS3. Yes, I said PS3. Windows, web browser, PSP, arcade game, BlackBerry, Symbian, Web OS, Tizen, FireOS, Migo, macOS, Bata, Maimo, and PlayStation Vita. And the game was a massive success, creating games such as Angry Birds Seasons, which was Angry Birds, but based on, seasons. And this game was pretty good, and it had more things than Angry Birds, the original. It also introduced the character Stella. Afterwards, the next game they made was Angry Birds Rio, which was their first game with copyright material. And this game, I mostly did not play, but from what I remember, it was just Angry Birds, but in the jungle, and the pigs, were birds, and they were in cages. Bird cages. Then came Angry Birds Friends, which sucks. And if you ever mention Angry Birds Friends in this house, you shall be thoroughly dealt with personally in this utmost preposterous, harmful matter. Anyways, after the game Rio, the fourth game, not the fifth. Okay, I'm not talking about Angry Birds Friends. Do not ever mention Angry Birds Friends. Not the fifth. Came out, which was Angry Birds Space. Which was amazing, because the birds had crazy superpowers, such as Red, who has nothing but cooler, and Chuck, who now has crazy fucking dash attack. What the fuck? And Bomb, who explodes, but crazier. And the Blues, who split into three, but crazier. And the new Ice Bird, who just turns thingy things into ice thingy. And then there's Terrence. Yup, he's back. And he's a green bean mean machine menace. Then came Angry Birds Star Wars, which was crazy as it added, lightsabers and a horse and a crap ton of Angry Birds. That's pretty much it. Afterwards, Angry Birds Space 2. Angry Birds Star Wars 2, which was crazier, with so much Angry Birds and even pigs you can play as. This game was such a good game at the time. Oh yeah, not to mention, also has different worlds and sides, and you can play as pigs or birds, but sadly this feature was never used again. And practically, that was the end of the games, where you launched the birds into the atmosphere. Because the next game was Angry Birds Go, which is a new and exciting idea for the Angry Angry Birds franchise because, well, it was Angry Birds Mario Kart. And at the time, there are not many Mario Kart ripoffs on the App Store, and they're usually bad. But this one was surprisingly good, and to top it off, it had Angry Birds characters. Next up was Angry Birds Epic, which truly was epic. It was a great RPG, as most RPGs are severely complicated, mostly boring, and realistic. But the simple and cartoonish take on the RPG genre was great. And again, it was Angry Birds, so it made it 10 times better. And this game, in my opinion, was the most crazy, unique, and fun Angry Birds games. Afterwards, Angry Birds Transformers came out, which was okay. Practically, it was an endless runner where you shoot pigs with guns, and those pigs are in the background. Now we enter the beginning of the end, the dread, the infamous Angry Birds 2. After years, Rovio finally released a sequel to the original game, and we had not gotten a launch the bird game in a while, and it had better graphics, physics, effects, and all around better mechanics. So I would say that was this game worthy a sequel to Angry Birds? Nostalgia-wise, no. Logic-wise, pretty much. If it was less pay to win, the game would have been better. Now we enter the Dark Ages. Oh yeah, before we continue, there were spin-offs I forgot to mention. Before we continue, which were Angry Birds Stella, which is Angry Birds with the birds that were crazier and more girls. Bad Piggies, where you built cards to complete pig levels. And Angry Birds Pop. And now, the moment you've been waiting for 5,000 years. We enter the Dark Ages, and the last game that was semi-good was released. Angry Birds Action. Honestly, this was just Candy Crush, but with Angry Birds. And it was okay. The idea of the game was repeated so many times that the game was pretty much just another matching game cash graph. And it was not even the best matching game. Now, this was the last game I played because from what I could tell, the rest of the Angry Birds games are practically the same genre as they were all puzzle games. And now we enter the real fall from glory, the Angry Birds movie. Now, why is this movie bad, you might ask? Well, the movie is okay, but the new art style was the main issue, as the movie was really weird. And the new art style, we thought it was, just temporary and just in the movie. But no. All of their games from now then were using the new art style. They sucked. They were terrible. Even worse, than the darkest ages of Angry Birds. And the bad thing is, this was just for money, and they were also proud of it. They were proud of it. In fact, so proud they were to lead to something devastating. They removed almost all of the classic games leading to Angry Birds Action, including Angry Birds Action, and the reasoning was for testing purposes. According to game industry, and due to the new information we now know, this is totally bull. You know what the second word is. Because later, they added Angry Birds Classic back, right for money, which is stupid, because just a couple days ago, they removed it because, and I quote, this is what one of the devs or guys over the Discord, one of the admins said. We are removing Rovio Classics AB on Android after a thorough investigation and due to its negative impacts on our games. This means that nobody likes their stupid little new dumb games, and everybody likes Angry Birds Classic, and they were just removing Rovio. So stop. Nobody likes your new games. Just bring them back. The dang old ones. Okay, I need to calm down here. And at least we still have Angry Birds, Bad Piggies, and Angry Birds 2. And it sucks that there's no other games that were classic besides which game I'm talking about. But the thing is, if you want to play deleted Angry Birds on iOS, go to the App Store, click on your account, click purchases, search up Angry Birds, and if it's there, download it because they still work somehow. And now, on to the main point of this video. Angry Birds / Rovio become bankrupt. Because, well, obviously, nobody, I mean no one, and feel like likes their current games. And feel like their current games, the fuck is wrong with you? Like, honestly, you get a life. And they're not going to be making too much money from them. Besides maybe Bad Piggies or Angry Birds 2. And the way I see it, the only way they'll get their movie is from the Angry Birds movies. And any movie series that is even somewhat successful can be melted to the core. But then Angry Birds movie fans will lose on trust sooner or later. And if Angry Birds does not bring back their own games, nobody will play them at all. Meaning practically no money. And we need to make demands. I got an idea. Us fans need to go on strike and not play any. And when I say any, I mean any of their new games that are live or currently on the App Store. Does not include the deleted ones because they don't make money off them. So download those all you want. But we need that is Angry Birds Classic or nothing. You know what? I hate hashtags, but darn it, hashtag fix yourself, Rovio, hashtag AB Classic, or maybe even hashtag save Angry Birds. Any of those could work. Anyways, if we want Angry Birds Classic back, we're going to go on strike and do something about it. Anyways, this is the end of the video. Goodbye, Felicia!